Welcome, friends, stoners, and canna fans, to the latest episode of the Cannabis Chronicles. I am your boy, Brother Bong, and I'm coming to you from the Black Unicorn Division Studios, Bronx, New York, on a different platform, but an old platform. Came back here because I wanted to see how it works, and it's a little easier for me to upload the information to my podcast, the websites, to the platforms. Shout out to Apple Podcasts, shout out to Spotify, shout out to Amazon Music. I am your boy Dr. Bong, aka Jeffrey L, a Jeffrey JL Starr Enterprises. We basically chop it up about our favorite subject, cannabis, and we take this time here to talk about it and see what's going on in the industry. We talk about current events. We keep some medical stuff going on. So we got a couple things going on today. I want to make some shout outs today. We're going to talk about edibles. So we want to, talk about edibles and how knowing them and what they mean and how they mean, or excuse me, how they mean, how they work in our bodies. So we're going to touch that a little bit, and Happy New Year! Shout out to everybody for the Happy New Year. Question: how long do you say Happy New Year? I mean, is it a day? Is it a week? Is it a month? Because I saw somebody and they actually said Happy New Year to me, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. But it is what it is, and I wanted to, so I thought it was interesting, something to talk about. So if you have an opinion on that, let me know what you think. If it is something you do and how long you do it. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. I am your boy, Brother Bong, aka Dr. Bong. We are coming to you on the stereo app, coming to you direct from Black Unicorn Division Studios in the Bronx, New York. Shout out to Best Buds Magazine, DC, and his team at Best Buds Magazine, but also at Pen Game Publishing. Pen Game Publishing is, I guess, the parent company. Not I guess. It is the parent company for Best Buds Magazine. And if you guys don't know what that is, check that out. That's Best Buds, BUDZ, mag.com. Updating the website, so bear with us for a little while longer, but we will have that up and going really soon, and got that ready for you. Shout out to them. So DC, but also if you go to pengamepublishing.com, that's PENGAME publishing.com, you get a chance to check out some stuff, some new books that Darnell published for the for the company, and the really cool kids books. So there's some other things that we have going on besides Best Buzz Magazine with Pen Game Publishing. Shout out to Sage Genetics and JT and his team over there. You can check them out on the Instagram. That's SAGE Genetics with an X, TIX at Instagram.com. Shout out to them. Consuming this today, we are consuming Italian ice. It is a very nice, as you all know, I enjoy indica, and I enjoy, but for me, the main thing for me, guys, no matter what, whether it's indica, sativa, or hybrid, is smoothness. Like, what is smoothness? What does that mean to me? And how does it make me feel? So I look at it from that perspective. So enjoying some Italian ice courtesy of Sage Genetics. So check them out. Cannabis Society, shout out to Abe, shout out to Grizz, shout out to the whole team over there. Their calendar is filling up. We are now back in town. We went out of town this past weekend. We were in Chicago for a really cool event, um, a family event. We got a chance to celebrate the matriarch of our family for her 90th birthday. So that was really cool. And so shout out to her and all my cousins and everyone who really, really made it was just a wonderful experience. You know, Miss A and I, we had such a great time. So uh, cold. Chicago was definitely cold, but we bared through it. We dealt with it, and you know, we keep doing what we do. So yeah, we had a great time there. Shout out to Canaware again. Shout out to BuzzFeed and Chill Pipes and all of the people who are involved with them. Justin, in particular, the head honcho guy over there. So shout out to Justin and his team uh, from Chill Pipes and BuzzFeed. Got a fucking, we had a little fucking snowstorm last week and thought the trip to Chicago was going to be affected by that, but it wasn't affected too much. Everything was really smooth and so that was cool. So again, Happy New Year. How long do you say Happy New Year? Is it a week? Is it a day? Is it a month? How or longer? If you haven't seen a person for a long time, do you greet them with, "Oh my God, Happy New Year. I haven't seen you since, Thanksgiving." So who knows? New York, we have a new mayor in New York City. Donnie is our new mayor, and he is a mayor for the people, and he is Muslim. So I heard a lot of talk about that when we were out of town, when we were in Chicago. They asked us about our experience with our new mayor, Donnie. So hey man, listen, equal opportunity employer here. We seek and we love everyone equally. I don't really think I have a preference to people as long as you're cool. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Brother Bong. We are a weekly candid cannabis community conversation where we chop it up about our favorite subject, cannabis. We were gonna have our boy. We're gonna have some fellas on the show. Let's see. How am I doing this? Okay, so I don't want to go out of it, but I want to go into the stereo. Open this stereo. There we go. Let's see how that goes. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. I am your boy, Brother Bong, and we are a weekly candid cannabis community conversation where we talk about everything, not everything cannabis related, but we are cannabis related, but not everything is, just like I said, just an open forum conversation. So if you come on through and say what's up and let us know, what's your position on cannabis. Because, I hadn't been on this platform in a while. So I got and I was, jumped on somebody's chat and, they had a problem. They was like, "Oh, what the heck you doing there?" And they saw, Brother Bong, and they, immediately knew, because obviously I don't hide what it is. We talk about what it is we do here at the Cannabis Chronicles. If you don't know, I'm going to fill you in. I'm a 10-year veteran of the medical cannabis space in New York State. I've helped lots and lots and lots of patients make their choices, their decision on what type of cannabis products they would like to use and get involved with. So, and it's a broad spectrum of things. That's why today's one of the subjects today is talking about know your edibles. So you want to know your edibles so you can, uh, just know, because it takes many different forms. The legalization of cannabis across the nation. It has come with the introduction of edibles as cannabis products far beyond medical and recreational dispensaries. So there's all kind of food products now. There's all kind of beverages, and you just want to know. I had an experience. Shout out to Wild Bill Walford, aka Professor Waffles, and it was a hot summer day. We was hanging out, and he we stopped at a dispensary and grabbed something and for the show while we were on while we were and so we grabbed this cannabis and let's see, and it was hot, so I just I kind of drank it really fast, and I didn't realize that it was you know I didn't realize I was drinking a infused drink until the last minute, and I was like, "Oh snap! I'm drinking an infused drink." So I didn't want to, get myself about. You want to make you want to, you want to moderate and be moderate in how you consume and drinking it, because a lot of times when people consume, whether it be through a beverage or an edible or gummy, sometimes we can, you know, think that that we have a higher tolerance. It's a different type of tolerance when you have an edible as opposed to smoking or what you would call combustion, as opposed to vaporization, and opposed to a topical. Because yes, there are topicals that you can actually put directly on. Say you have ankle problems and you want to, medicate with cannabis, and you can actually use that. You can use a topical for your pain in that particular localized experience. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Brother Bong, and I'm all by myself tonight. But it's okay. We do what we do. We're going to keep it moving. And we had, said to mention Mamdani. So the player, New York City Democratic Mayor Mamdani, is more popular than ever before, about a month after his inauguration, according to a new poll from Siena Research Institute. Why does that matter? Why does it matter to anybody but us New Yorkers? Because for real, when I was out of town, it was a source of a conversation. So, people around, for us, we're kind of oblivious to it, but, you know, to say that the rest of the country, needless to say, the rest of the world is watching. So it's important to, make sure that we pay attention to what's going on with around us, because, we are, for me, as far as I'm concerned, New York is the center of pretty much everything. So, but why does it matter? The trend also follows a series of 2025 polls that show Mamdani leading the New York City mayoral race and consolidating support among younger voters, setting the stage for a subsequent general election victory and early term agenda on affordability. So, according to the poll, Mamdani's favorability rate is 48% versus a 32% unfavorable rating. Mamdani's favorability rating in December was 46%, so obviously that's up 2% versus a 31% unfavorable rating. So, and I think, for some people, they get caught up on religion, with a person prays to, and who they want to that they want to spend their paradise with. So, what is it? Who is it, and why does it matter to anybody? Because for me, it's, everything is about your business. If you believe in the day of judgment, then, I haven't read any text or any information that says that there's somebody else that's there with you during on the day of judgment. It's just you being judged for that. And again, some people don't even believe in that. So, how does that matter to you if you do or you don't believe it? Because it's really a personal choice. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Brother Bong. We're talking about the new mayor of New York City, Zohan Mamdani, and he's actually, getting a higher got a higher what do you call that favorability poll, and it says he's come up to 6 points, come up 2 points. So it is what it is. So we see, you can find information. We see. So if you, like I said, if you are interested in finding out anything, just do your research. And you can find out anything you need to find out. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. Beyond the Smoke, it's all about the edibles. The legalization of cannabis has brought many products to the forefront and people and choices. So it's not all about consuming cannabis with a through combustion. It also can be a oral solution. It also can be an oral solution. You can simply put that in a beverage, a hot beverage. I recommend to people, patients I've dealt with, and place that, um, whatever the dosing is, because and this is also interesting. It's an interesting fact is that when you have a dropper or oral solution, then that dropper, if you fill it to the top line, then that equals a whatever that dosing is. So if it's 5 milligrams of medication, then that top line is 5 milligrams. And if you have a 10 milligram solution, a high or extra thick solution, then the top line is going to be that 10 milligrams. So a lot of times, we forget when we have kids. We used to use that for the dropper for children, using giving them their medication, whether it was the children's Tylenol or whatever. But it's the same principle. That liquid is, those lines are there. That grading, that's actually what the word means. And grading is there for a reason, to let you know that you can use it, where the proper dosing amount is. I got a little closer to that microphone. So, unfortunately, homemade edibles, for many years, they were made at home. So, you had that fair share of uncertainty. You didn't know exactly, what you were getting, how it was formulated, and now, because I have had the honor of, being witness to, the evolution of cannabis in these forms, and how it has evolved. Just adjusting my mic here. Here we go. So how it has evolved throughout my experience with cannabis. We're going to break that down one day, because I found a list of and the correlation of how cannabis in the United States, year per year, the percentage of people who consume cannabis, and how it correlated also with my cannabis experience, and how I was able to plot out on that same timeline my personal timeline for with my experiences with cannabis, starting from my very first experience all the way up until the end of that poll. So that's going to be another show, another time. We're going to talk about that. So again, shout out to Best Buzz Magazine and Penn Game Publishing, and everyone associated with them. Shout out to Big Gas Worldwide, Reem and his team. Shout out to Big Gas Dispensary. If you are in the New Paltz area and you want to check out a full service dispensary, please go and check out our friends at Big Gas Dispensary, New Paltz, New York. Shout out to my boy, saw a post from him the other day. Shout out to DK Edibles, our boy Dior King and his team at DK Edibles. Listen, Wild Bill and I, we really had a great experience, a great time with Dior and his cuisine. It was just delicious. And shout out, you know what? Happy belated birthday shout outs to Professor Waffles, aka Wild Bill Wafford, our friend and co-host, and our shenanigans. Um, so we again, we love cannabis, but we also love to educate folks on medical cannabis and how it works for folks, and how it is just not, it's just not a recreational thing. So We are the Cannabis Chronicles. I shouldn't be. Well, you know what? I'm on the computer at the same time. Yes, still talking about the same subject. Yes, something popped up from them here at La at Stereo. So we are the Cannabis Chronicles. Consultant. Okay, so listen, if you have a question for me, you can reach me at JL Cannabis Consultant at gmail.com, or you can also reach me at brotherbong420 at gmail.com. Check out the podcast later on. Hopefully, we're going to, not hopefully, we are going to build an audience. So we're going to have interaction, how we had it before here. You can check out the platforms. Excuse me. We are at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Podcast Index, and the Mothership Connection is Buzz Sprout. So I'm not sure if you followed this, but or you followed the show, but this was the very first platform that I started the show on, and as I was as I'm figuring things out, I did I tried I did the Instagram live, and when I started this in stereo, I didn't know how to take what I recorded and then present that in the platform. So that's what I'm doing now. I am using this as my raw material for the podcast on the platforms, like I said, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Podcast Index, and the Mothership Connection, which is Buzz Sprout. So we are the Cannabis Chronicles. I'm your boy, Brother Bong. We are a weekly candid cannabis community conversation. We talk about many things, many subjects involved with cannabis, specifically medical cannabis. We're going to see how this flows. We have, again, if you want to check out the archives here on Stereo, please go back. We go back a couple years, and I took a break from this platform, and then I popped back on. Today is my first broadcast in a very long time on Stereo. But I'm seeing the correlation, I'm seeing the connection. So hopefully, we're going to be more consistent, because one of the things I am, if you look at the profile, I'm very, very consistent. I just needed to find a platform. And now I know what to do with that raw material, because I literally, when I first started doing stereo, I didn't know. And I said to myself, I'm not going to say that on the show, but I didn't know even how to save it. I just did it, and it was like, okay, I knew it was here. And if you wanted to hear it, you just listen to it here. But I didn't know that I could actually, this is until recently, then you could email that. I could email this recording to an email address, and then I could upload that to my podcast and the platforms that it's on, starting with the Mothership Connection, the one and only Buzz Sprout. We are the Cannabis Connect. We are the Cannabis Chronicles. And our cannabis connection is the one and only Sage Genetics. So shout out to Sage Genetics. We're going to get, like I said, we're streamlining things. So we're going to get like legit interviews with all of the people that are in our network of friends. We have all kinds of industry folks, whether they be from the dirt. Shout out to Nahi Farms. Our sister Nicole, she's Nahi Farms. Check them out, nahifarms.com. Great things going on with them. Living Soil and Gaetano and his team. Check them out. So we have everything from the dirt to we have friends who are always into growing, manufacturing, processing, and then the different products. Shout out to China Chill, Kimber and her team over there, doing wonderful things. We just, because we got involved with the medical side very early in New York, we had a great, I like to say, a backstage pass for a lot of stuff. And it was and is it can to be continue to be a privilege for me to be involved with the cannabis space in New York. This is my 10-year anniversary, so this is part of the blitz, the beginning of the media blitz for me, because the message is still clear, the message is still here. There's still people who need to be helped, and cannabis is an alternative. Cannabis is an option for those people who want to try something different. I'm gonna try and see if this works too. No, I put the mic away. I'm gonna leave it alone. I have a clip-on mic, and I want to see if that works. So I'm just gonna make sure I set it up for next week after I hear how this audio is today, because that's one of the things I'm this is, like I said, this is all semi new to me. And again, I apologize to the people who I popped on their show, and they seemed to be very didn't like the fact that there was my cannabis information popped up too. So listen, it's my philosophy: live and let live. It's not my business. It's not my business. Is not your business, and your business is not my business. We are the Cannabis Chronicles, and I'm going to drink a sip of water right now. Much better. Much, 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 much better. The lubrication and feels good in my throat. So again, shout out to stepped away, leaned away from the microphone. Shout out to Best Buds Magazine. Shout out to Sage Genetics, Canaware, Chill Pipes, BuzzFeed, Big Gas Worldwide, Big Gas Dispensary, DK Edibles, Nahi Farms, and the team at Legacy Unites Community, Kayvon, Ojo, and like the team is just growing exponentially because there's really some really smart and talented folks that we here in New York City are, are the universe is, growing with these individuals who are just doing some wonderful things. So shout out to the friends of the show. Shout out to you if you're listening to the show. And if you want to leave a question, we're going to do this Wednesday nights. Want to do a half-hour show, and just going to see how this works today. And like I said, I want to see the process and see how it works, and go from there. And just I wanted to get some content because I had taken off we had taken off for the holidays as we normally do for the holiday season. Matter of fact, again, how long do you say Happy New Year? How long do you wish people it? Do you wish it for a day and you're done, a week and you're done, a month? Or is it subjective when you see that person you haven't seen in a long time? You say, I haven't seen you since Halloween, Happy New Year, blase, blase. Well, that is my question for you guys today. And also culture versus capsule as far as cannabis is concerned. And, there have always been, remedies, homemade remedies, people and anecdotal ideas and things about cannabis medicinally. I remember one of the very first things I ever heard was with glaucoma. And now that I understand, it is definitely beneficial for people with glaucoma because of the anti-inflammatory properties of cannabis. So when individuals have inflammation, one of the things that CBD, which is a cannabinoid, and we'll get off into that conversation another time, cannabinoids are what are the basis of the medicinal properties of cannabis. And so CBD is known to have anti-inflammatory properties and benefits and is beneficial for what we call neuropathies or neurological pain. So, there's a lot to dive into. I am so happy to be doing this with you guys again. As I said, we are the Cannabis Chronicles. We're a weekly candid cannabis community conversation where we talk about our favorite subject, cannabis, and we appreciate your time. Shout out to my boy Wild Bill Wofford, co-host. Shout out to Joe. I thought Joe was going to pop on and give me a little assistance on this, so you guys, excuse me, didn't have to listen to my voice for this half an hour or so. So, we chopped it up. Happy New Year. How long do you say that? Congratulations to Mayor Mamdani, the new mayor of New York City. Shout out to him and his team. And we'll see how it works because, listen, it's a different thing. Shout out to my aunt. She probably never listened to the show, but we had just a wonderful, wonderful family gathering, and I guess we could finish the show with that. We have you know we have a limited time on this earth, and many people sometimes don't make it very long. They leave us very early in life, and we had the opportunity to honor someone for their 90th birthday. And we talked about so many different things and the attributes for my aunt and her beautiful life and the full life that she's leading, still driving a car, still doing the basic things that she needs to for herself. No need for a chauffeur for her, just, her being the dynamic woman, the phenomenal woman that she is. But getting back to that again, what do you want to leave? What message do we want to leave to folks, and how do you want to leave that message? And that's part of the reason why, as a veteran who has been in the military and an individual who's worked in healthcare and, seeing people, cross over to the other side and been in, worked in a pharmacy and now for the past 10 years being in the medical cannabis space, it has, taught me so much. And, I actually was involved with the legacy market. I'm going to have some tea now. Hold on. I had pretty much been involved with the legacy market for a very long time before I pivoted into, and I don't even think I'm never ever going to leave legacy. What is legacy, Dr. Bond? What does that mean? Well, legacy is the established cannabis market that was already profiting and prolific and existing and thriving uh, market that was already existing. And I'm speaking specifically here in New York State and New York City specifically. But this market is legacy, and that market's already been going on. So shout out to individuals and companies, and excuse me, and entities like Legacy Unites Community, because in the understanding is that we need both. We need everybody, because it really got crazy at the point where, and I want to say it's crazy, but in the very beginning, um, there were certain things that just you couldn't pull up some information. Like it felt as though they didn't want to uh, associate the with the legacy market. They wanted to distance themselves from that, and it just felt, unfortunately, it felt for me because being part of that that space, because again, I had one foot in both spaces. It just was like those lessons that were learned through the legacy experience were lessons they can't be unlearned, and they could have helped the space here in New York, and maybe had a few lessons to teach. But once, once uh, the I don't even know how to say it, like, because it's because these folks didn't really know, really what this space was. I felt as though, you know, um, because of that, there were, there were gaps in, there were gaps in understanding and how to make it happen. And again, because there was an exclusion of certain population, and then to try to bring that population in and then say, okay, we want to use you. And while that word came out, but it is kind of a use you kind of thing, the community that was impacted by, the war on drugs and how it affected certain communities more prolifically uh, more more harshly than others. And especially here in New York, because New York was the first one to, want to build that into what we want to do, and what they wanted to do, and the folks they wanted to help. So we will see all of that. But Legacy Unites Community, shout out to them. Shout out again to Nahi Farms, Nicole and her team. Shout out to Living Soil, Gaetano and his team up there. Shout out to DK Edibles, Big Gas Worldwide, Big Gas Dispensary, Chill Pipes, BuzzFeed. Shout out to Cannabis Society. Listen, if you want to get involved in this cannabis thing and you want to, make a difference and you want to become part of something, check out cannawaresociety.com, cannawaresociety.com, and become part of the team, become part of the platoon, because um, this work is, we've come so far, but there's so much more work to be done. I am your boy, Brother Bong. Shout out to Sage Genetics. Thank you so much, JT, for the Italian ice that I'm going to be consuming when I go outside on the terrace. And I had some earlier, just a smooth, robust cannabis. And I appreciate you. Shout out to Best Buds Magazine and Pen Game Publishing. Listen, I know everybody has a story. And if you have a story and you want to turn your story into a book, you can do that. Check out pengamepublishing.com. So this is a test show. Your boy, and as always, they go by so fast, but that's a good thing, because they say when you do something that you love, you never really work. So I am your boy, Brother Bong, aka Dr. Bong. Shout out to all of my friends and partners and the network of individuals who are doing this cannabis thing. Listen, remember, cannabis is a social thing. Cannabis is a social consumption. So if you got one, smoke one. I am your boy, Brother Bong. We are the Cannabis Chronicles, and we are out. Peace.